course make things a bit harder for attackers as well. And we see a Grenadier team on the field from BS, perhaps from the bunker. I didn't pay attention, although it could easily have been from the Creek barracks as well. Riflemen using the house for cover. Certainly going to provide them some strength, and of course tie up the infantry against it. But with me probably researching some grenades, I suspect, yes indeed, pine old grenades. Riflemen holding the wall at the cemetery for this. Going to have the mines in a second or two. I suspect, yes indeed, mines researched and grenades. I mean grenades researched, not mines, good heavens. But grenades going off, causing the retreat of the MG42 team, leaving things a bit open for me. Pack, perhaps, anti-tank gun perhaps moving in. No, grenades going off, killing some foot grenadiers, but not much else. But looks like I'll have to pull back due to the presence of the grenadiers and the half-track, which is certainly proving to be quite obstinate. Mortar team on the move, a bit of harassment fighting going on here. Engineers with flamethrowers burning pioneers, who then proceed to run right into a mine. Foes Grenadiers seizing this point as well. The German player a bit on the defensive, not a lot of troops. I have so far been quite successful in keeping him under pressure. Another Grenadier team out as well. Oh well, yeah, from the Germans, and perhaps we might see something else for me, but riflemen healing and reinforcing while others are moving out with some engineers. And we see the mortars setting up to provide fire support in the central area. We see one Grenadier team trying to perform a sneaky flanking move, perhaps going to harass my points here. Doing so quite alone, perhaps not the wisest move. They could easily be picked off. Again, something I'd rather recommend you do with riflemen rather than Grenadiers or Volksgrenadiers, but that's his choice. Spotting this, I move these troops out. Also, all equipped with lovely pineapple grenades to give them a fruit basket surprise. If grenades were fruits, I suppose. Not instead explosive munitions, and they're going to wreak a lot of nasty damage on those troops. Engineers moving out. Submachines gun blazing, not doing a lot to those Grenadiers, though in particular not in cover. Grenades going off. Grenadiers pulling out. Me actually losing some troops, not him. Further troops moving in from the south to support this. Going to get a bit dicey, and we see an attack going on here. Riflemen moving forward. Mortar providing fire support, and we see riflemen being diverted up here to do some damage. Mortar opening fire on the MG42, which is not moving. Possibly my opponent is a bit more occupied in the northern half of the map, and the MG42 team has been cleared out. Grenadiers caught while seizing a point, a bad idea, and we see a grenade going off, landing right next to them, causing one casualty and forcing a retreat, another going down on the retreat itself. Veterancy 1 has been researched, meaning the troops know a bit of first aid, allowing themselves to heal themselves slowly. Riflemen seizing the central victory point, moving ahead a bit slowly. That half-track being a source of frustration for my troops. Not able to really damage it at the moment, but researching sticky bombs and the first supply yard upgrade, meaning I'll be getting a bit more manpower out of my manpower allotment, since American troops have a lot of upkeep. In fact, Grenadiers with Infantry 1 charging ahead, spotting the medic bunker now, seizing the MG42, but not getting it out in time. In fact, grenades going off, two in fact, clearing out the team, and I lost a rifle team, much to my sadness. And howitzers are going off to cover this area and at least knock out that MG42, and a medic taken out by the artillery. Rifleman moving up to stop this harassment by the Volksgrenadiers. Again, he seems a bit awfully keen on using his troops a bit too disjointed, sending out piecemeal, allowing me to pick them off like that. Of course, harassment can be good, but I think as a Wehrmacht player you should be more focused with your troops and leave the small unit harassment to the Americans. Anyhow, Volksgrenadiers trying to do their best, but against the Veterancy 1 rifleman team, there's certainly not a good situation. 2 down, and 2 left, forced to retreat. Mortar providing heavy fire support against the bunker. We see some, or we hear some mines going off somewhere. Yes, right here. Wehrmacht player had set off a mine to prevent any flanking through here, which my riflemen of course run right into. Mines going off in the center, and we see a large German attack, in fact, moving up. 3 Grenadier teams and our first Grenadier team going right straight for the northern victory point. Most likely, while I focus completely on this bunker and strategic point. And of course the half-track BARs have also been retraced from my riflemen now, giving them a lot more firepower. Pioneers trying to repair the bunker but forced to retreat under, or pull into the bunker in fact. And of course artillery now being called in, meaning they'll be the bunker will be there too. Anti-tank gun knocked out by the pack completely unknowingly, since I had absolutely no idea that there were an anti-tank gun there. Hasn't had any chance to fight me yet. Riflemen taking on the Grenadiers. Grenade going off. Grenadiers taking heavy damage but no losses, although that might soon change with the BARs going off. Grenades missing though. Grenadiers now suffering heavy losses. Mortar fire going off against the German troops trying to hold this crossroad. Could easily end up very nastily, and we see mines having been laid down in preparation here at this strategic point while the Germans are seizing the northern point. Certainly a good and much better tactic from the Germans, instead to focus their attacks in a different axis of attack and instead attack me from the rear while I'm busy here. Half-track finally blown to pieces, much to my delight, while riflemen here are reinforcing, and we see a ranger team on the field. I've gone infantry doctrine. I probably should have gone it a lot earlier, but for some reason I was wondering whether I should go airborne instead. Ultimately I opted for the rangers, and they are now on the field ready to do some damage to Jerry. Rangers moving ahead with flamethrowers in tow. Germans trying now to seize the central point as well. But Rangers and flamethrowers setting a stop to that. Bazookas firing off, missing. Flamethrowers trying to move closer, further. Riflemen moving in as well. And we see further Grenadiers, in fact, from Hauptmann BS. Let's go have a look at how many he has. 4 Grenadier teams and 2 Volksgrenadier teams. Certainly a lot of infantry. Probably a lot more than I have. And with veterans too, they are certainly going to be a lot tougher. But unlike my riflemen, they don't quite have as much firepower. The closest thing the Grenadiers might have is the LMG-42, and currently I'd not advise using it at all. Rather use the munitions for something a bit more functional. Grenadiers caught out in the open against automatic weapon. A bad idea. Grenadier taken out with a direct hit from a bazooka. A few riflemen going down to grenades. Further grenades being lobbed everywhere. Mortar fire raining in. Looks like one Grenadier team is in serious peril. Volksgrenadiers pulling back as well. Might even get taken out. No, barely makes it out of there alive. Veterans 2 now up, meaning Grenadiers get elite armor and Volksgrenadiers get some small damage resistance bonuses and such. Grenades going off as well on the central. Grenadiers causing some losses. A lot of Grenadier pushes, in fact. Certainly not bad, although we should be careful about standing out in the open versus Rangers. Rangers closing in for the kill. Another bazooka shot taking out a Grenadier. This is quite horrible for the Grenadiers, that is. And we see another team seizing the middle point, and so far they have this victory point advantage, although currently Hauptmann BS's 352nd Grenadier Division is quite low on it. Reinforcing and recuperating, and we see something going for my motor pool. What will it be? A T-17 armored car, one of the 2 armored cars the Americans used during the war. Although the M8 was the main armored car, I do believe the T-17 are available in great numbers. Grenadiers pulling back in the face of the Rangers, still equipped only with rifles, although they can be upgraded with Thompson submachine guns that do make them a lot more lethal. And we see a Granatenwerfer 34, element 43, but still, mortar ready to provide fire support for the German troops. Certainly a good combination, certainly going to increase the firepower of his men by a great deal. Riflemen moving in to support as well. German troops out in the open, not good in particular, not against troops equipped with automatic weapons. Rangers taking heavy losses and retreating. Mortar fire raining in now as well. American mortar on the spot as well, and we see the armored car hanging out in the back, probably waiting to catch the German troops at the right time, I suspect. Riflemen opening fire, anti-tank gun as well, and now we see the armored car dashing in, going to take some shots at the German troops who have absolutely no means of actually dealing with them. The element of surprise being on my side, him having no anti-tank gun, that being wrecked by the artillery. And he had not got anything to replace that, since so he figured, oh well, I'm just going to be spamming riflemen and rangers. Sucks to be him. T-17 exploiting this lack of anti-tank weaponry and hunting down the German troops. Firing away at the mortar team, now caught without any support. One mortar team member going down. T-17 moving in to finish the job, while we see further Grenadiers moving in from the west. Once more moving to seize the western victory point. The American ideas of just moving in. Teams on their own having seized.
We are losing a sector.
Probably going to get an anti-tank gun from that Creek barracks, I suspect. Yes, indeed. Pack 38 50mm anti-tank gun. I see this though and see it cloaking, so I move for the thing he's not expecting, that is moving through his base and then dashing out here. Veterancy 1 gain for the T-17, meaning it's going to be getting a lot more health. Fox Grenadiers trying to harass, caught out in the open, BARs opening fire. We don't really want to be caught out in the open against troops armed with automatic weapons. We see riflemen on the way. Rangers having finally recuperated alongside Veterancy 2 riflemen who are now more accurate and harder to hit. The T-17 makes it out pretty much unscathed from the German lines. And we see a medic station going up, although so far no casualties having been recovered. Grenadiers now pulling back, joining up with other teams standing out in the open against automatic fire. Perhaps not the wisest idea, and now a lot more American troops under my command, including flamethrowers and rangers. Going to get very nasty for the German troops, and we see the T-17 joining in the fight as well.